Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's story, where we dive into a tale filled with secrets, unexpected turns, and a love that could change everything. Have you ever wondered what happens when a simple act of kindness turns into something much more? Or when a man's hidden feelings collide with the complex past of a woman trying to rebuild her life? Can the past truly be left behind, or will it haunt them forever? And most importantly, will their hearts finally align, or will their doubts tear them apart? Stay tuned till the end, because this story will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew about love, trust, and the choices we make. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and join us on this emotional journey. Let's reach 10,000 followers together. Your support means the world to us. Tuna stood in the middle of the vast field, her gaze fixed on the small house ahead. The morning light gently illuminated her face, as if it were a new hope beginning to bloom. After years of struggling with life's hardships, she now faced a new path, a new life, though it wasn't without its challenges. She turned to look at Henry, her young son, sleeping peacefully in his crib. "You will have a better future," she whispered to herself, as if reminding herself of the promise she made to him. Her life had been filled with pain and loss, yet now, for the first time, Tuna felt a glimmer of hope. With Henry by her side, she felt strength in her motherhood. "There is nothing too hard for us to overcome," she thought. The road ahead was uncertain, but with her son, there was a purpose to push forward. She would face the future, no matter how difficult it seemed, for the sake of the life she promised to give Henry. But still, a part of her felt uneasy, as if the ground beneath her feet wasn't as solid as it should be. She wasn't alone anymore, but there were fears and uncertainties that lingered. Tuna's determination was clear, but she knew that facing the unknown would require every ounce of her willpower. Yet, one thing she knew for sure: with Henry, she was no longer alone. There was a future worth fighting for, and she was ready to take that first step. Alex stood on the balcony of his luxurious villa, the morning light casting reflections on his contemplative face. Today, he had made up his mind to do something for Tuna, something beyond the usual gestures. Even though she never asked, he felt an overwhelming need to help her, not just out of responsibility, but because of the feelings he was beginning to recognize. He had decided to build a new house for her and her son. He didn't want her to live in such difficult conditions. A new home wasn't just a structure. It would be a place where she could feel safe, a fresh start where she could raise her child in peace. As Alex visited the farm, he couldn't help but notice the subtle changes in Tuna. Her eyes conveyed gratitude, but there was something more, an unspoken hesitation. She appreciated his help, yet there was an underlying fear, an apprehension about relying too much on him. "Thank you, but I don't want to be a burden," she quietly said, her voice filled with both gratitude and concern. Alex could sense her resistance, but it didn't deter him. His actions spoke louder than his words. The house, the gifts, the little gestures. These were all his way of showing her that she wasn't alone. But Tuna, although grateful, struggled to accept his kindness. She couldn't quite bring herself to trust completely, still unsure of where this unspoken connection between them would lead. One quiet afternoon, Alex and Tuna sat together on the porch of her newly built house. The air was crisp as the setting sun painted everything in a warm, golden light, creating a serene, almost cinematic atmosphere. The sound of leaves rustling in the trees was the only thing that broke the silence. Alex couldn't take his eyes off Tuna, noticing how the light seemed to make her look even more delicate. Her face filled with quiet strength, but her gaze distant and lost in thought. As the moment stretched on, Alex realized that what he felt for her was more than mere gratitude or affection. It was something deeper, something he could no longer ignore. Tuna, too, felt the tension. She could sense the unspoken emotions that were between them, but she didn't know how to deal with them. She had always been independent, and despite the kindness Alex had shown, there was a lingering hesitation inside her. She wasn't used to depending on anyone, especially a man who was so much a part of a world so different from hers. She had been hurt before, and trusting someone was a challenge. Still, a part of her longed for the warmth he offered, but another part of her was afraid of what that might mean. The silence between them became a space filled with emotions neither of them dared to voice. Alex's eyes lingered on Tuna, understanding that this connection they had was no longer simple. For Tuna, it was a battle between opening her heart and protecting it. A delicate dance between what her heart wanted and what her fears dictated. Alex's sister watched the growing closeness between her brother and Tuna with increasing unease. She couldn't ignore the connection she saw building between them. And while part of her wanted to be happy for Alex, another part was filled with doubts. The way Alex went out of his way to help Tuna, the way he looked at her. It wasn't just about helping someone in need. She could see the affection in his eyes, and it made her uneasy. She had always been protective of her brother, and now she found herself wondering if Tuna was someone Alex could truly rely on. One afternoon, she decided to visit the farm. She wanted to see for herself who Tuna really was. When she arrived, Tuna greeted her with politeness, but also with a sense of caution. Alex's sister noticed the subtle tension in the air between them and couldn't help but feel that something was unspoken, a deeper bond that neither of them had addressed yet. The more she observed, the more she felt conflicted. She understood Alex's desire to care for Tuna, but she was worried about what that might mean for their family. Would Tuna truly fit into their world, or would this relationship cause problems in the long run? Her worry deepened as she realized that she was not just concerned about Alex's well-being, but also about the future of the family. She knew that if Alex were to follow his heart, their lives might change in ways they hadn't imagined. The uncertainty of it all weighed heavily on her mind, and she found herself wondering if Tuna was the right choice for him, or if she was only a temporary escape from something deeper. As the days passed, the bond between Alex and Tuna deepened, though neither of them fully acknowledged it. The act of building Tuna a new home was more than just a gesture of charity. It was Alex's way of showing her how much he cared. Yet, the more he did for her, the more Tuna hesitated to accept his kindness. She couldn't ignore the subtle shifts in her heart, nor the way his presence brought warmth to the cold corners of her life. But still, she held back, unsure if she could let herself fully embrace the affection he offered. One evening, after another long day of working on the farm, Alex stopped by to check on Tuna. he brought with him a small basket of fruits, a simple gesture, but for Tuna it felt like so much more. She noticed the way his eyes softened when he looked at her, and it made her chest tighten. The unspoken words between them felt heavier with each passing moment. It wasn't just the house or the gifts. There was something else beneath it all, something they hadn't yet voiced. Tuna glanced at him, searching his face for any sign of what he truly felt. She had been hurt before, and though Alex's care felt genuine, she couldn't allow herself to believe that someone like him would stay. There was a moment of silence between them, and Alex, sensing her hesitation, stepped closer. His voice was soft but steady as he asked, "Tuna, are you all right?" For a moment, Tuna couldn't answer. She felt the weight of the question, not just about her physical well-being, but about her heart. Did she dare to trust him, or would it be too late when she finally realized her feelings? As the construction of the new house for Tuna and Henry neared completion, Alex couldn't help but feel a sense of accomplishment. It was more than just bricks and mortar. It symbolized his commitment, his hope for their future. He hoped that once Tuna settled in, her worries would ease. In the quiet of the evenings, Alex often found himself thinking about her, wondering if she would ever fully trust him, or if her fears would hold her back forever. When the house was finally ready, Alex invited Tuna to see it. As they walked through the rooms, Tuna couldn't help but feel overwhelmed by the magnitude of the gesture. The house was beautiful, filled with light and warmth, the kind of home she had never dared to dream of. Yet, as she walked from room to room, her heart was filled with both gratitude and confusion. Alex's kindness was undeniable, but it made her question whether she was worthy of it. She had always lived in a world where help was conditional, and she wasn't sure if she could break free from that mindset. "Do you like it?" Alex asked, his voice gentle. Yet there was an underlying vulnerability in his tone. He was waiting for her response, hoping that his gesture would be enough to show her how much he cared. Tuna turned to him, her eyes filled with emotion, but she struggled to speak. "It's beautiful," she whispered, her voice trembling slightly. "Thank you." Alex smiled, though there was a sadness in his eyes. He could see that Tuna was still holding something back, still unsure if she could allow herself to fully accept what he was offering. But despite the silence between them, Alex didn't push her. He knew this would take time. It wasn't about the house. It was about the trust they were still building, one small step at a time. The morning after the house was completed, Alex went to visit Tuna once more. This time, he wasn't bringing anything, no gifts or gestures of care. He simply wanted to be there, to check on her and Henry. When he arrived, he found her sitting on the porch, her eyes distant, watching Henry play in the yard. She looked peaceful, yet there was a certain quiet sorrow in her demeanor. Alex stood for a moment, unsure of what to say, before walking up to her. "Everything's coming together," he said softly, sitting beside her. The sun was beginning to rise, casting long shadows over the land, and the moment felt fragile, almost cinematic. There was an unspoken tension in the air, both of them caught in a moment where everything seemed to hang in balance. Tuna turned to him, her eyes meeting his for the first time that morning. "I've been thinking," she began, her voice quiet but steady, "about everything. The house, you, everything you've done for me." She paused, trying to find the right words. I don't know if I can keep accepting your help. I don't know if I can give you what you expect in return. Alex's heart tightened, but he remained calm. Tuna, he said softly, I don't expect anything from you. I just want you and Henry to be safe, to be happy. But Tuna wasn't sure. Her past, her own fears, held her back. She wasn't sure if she could ever be what Alex hoped for, or if she even deserved to be. As Alex looked at her, he realized that no matter what, he couldn't rush her. This was something that had to come from her heart, in her own time. For now, he would just be there, offering his support, hoping that one day she would see that he wasn't going anywhere. Later that day, Alex received a call from his sister. She had been watching from afar, observing the changes in Alex and Tuna's lives. There was concern in her voice as she spoke. Alex, do you really know what you're getting into? She asked. Is Tuna really the person you think she is? You've barely known her for long. Alex felt his sister's words echo in his mind, but he knew one thing for sure. He couldn't walk away from Tuna. No matter how uncertain the future seemed, he was ready to face it, if she was willing to walk alongside him.
Câu chuyện xoay quanh Tử Na, một người phụ nữ trở lại nông trại sau những khó khăn trong quá khứ, cùng con trai Henry bắt đầu cuộc sống mới. Alex, một CEO giàu có, quyết định giúp đỡ cô bằng cách xây dựng một ngôi nhà mới và chăm sóc cho mẹ cô. Tuy nhiên, Tử Na cảm thấy lo lắng và không muốn phụ thuộc vào ai. Mối quan hệ giữa Alex và Tử Na dần phát triển, nhưng cả hai đều giữ lại cái cảm xúc thật sự của mình. Mặc dù Alex thể hiện tình cảm sâu sắc, Tử Na thì vẫn e dè vì quá khứ, nỗi sợ mất đi sự tự lập. Liệu họ có thể vượt qua những nghi ngờ và đến với nhau?